Hello and welcome back to another of the guides. This time the guide is about this Black Knight right here, also known as Peshurian, the Spatial Slash. And this time the guide is gonna be quicker than the other ones because he is just a rare character as you can see. And there's not much to talk about him. The basic stuff, don't worry about the stars, you will get them eventually because he's a rare character, so he will pop up a lot during your rolls in any kind of banner. And the upgrades of the stars are not like the great thing, are just two enhancements to his only skill. Accessories, as you can see, I just have him at level 3 to give him 20% counter rate, nothing more. But the HP is good at level 6. Arc Light, you can see he doesn't have any special Arc Light about him, so I just give him what I had. In this case is this one that increases attack by certain amount for every certain amount of HP lost and can stack 4 times. Not a great thing, but it's not the worst Arc Light. You will be fine giving him whatever you can find as your Arc Light. Like for example, if you really want to use Peshurian like mid levels, like level 50, 70, something like that, you could also give him this arc light, the barrel for the head wife, because increases the counter rate and counter damage a lot for 2 rounds. And that could be very useful for this character early in the game if you can manage to snag that arc light for yourself. But if not, things like this is not bad. Anything that increases his attack. As you can see, this character does not have a part for awakening levels, so you cannot awaken him. And well, the stats of this character are basically disappointing. He has very poor HP, very poor magical defense, like a mediocre defense, very poor attack, and the only good thing is the speed. It's a bit disappointing because when I see a warrior, especially someone that looks like him, I expect him to have at least a bit more of attack, like between B or even A rate, but a B will be more fitting for a rare character. But well, as you can see in the variable attributes, I gave him mostly effect precision and a bit of everything else except critical resistance, and that's because uh, the skills. The first thing is just the basic attack. Is nothing. Literally, is just a basic attack. The passive is the whole thing about this character, but let's go with his other skill. This character does not have ultimate. And well, this character basically skill with this skill, the special slash, it hits by a higher amount of damage than a basic attack, and has at 4 and 6 stars has a certain amount of basic chance to dispel one or two both from the target that he's hitting. So basically, he early on the game can be the character that you use to dispel enemy buff. And also has, when you upgrade this skill, another percentage chance of basic chance to inflict buff block for 2 rounds. Basically, it's a debuff that doesn't let the enemy inflicted with it to get any other buff before it purifies the buff block, or the buff block expires after the 2 rounds. And when you upgrade the skill, it's 100% basic chance. So the thing is, try to give him a little bit of effect precision because that will help him inflict the buff block on the enemy, so the enemy doesn't get any other buffs, and also to be able to dispel the enemy buffs. Can be one or two depending on your stars on the character. So uh, also accessories, well, you can farm them on the Land of Confusion, nothing special. The relic I will be showing this set that I have on him, and it's one of the two I'm gonna recommend. The first one is Desolation set. Almost all the pieces I will try you to, well, I will suggest you to give him HP, speed, and attack as the main things. Well, an effect precision. As you can see here, I could give him a bit of HP and speed. It's not bad, not the best. The Maxine robe is giving him a very good amount of defense, magical defense, speed, and an incredible amount of attack, which is like the best I could give him because he's not a character that I'm constantly using. It's like I barely used him, so this is just like for show to give you an example. This one is also good. Attack, damage boost, defense, so he doesn't die so quickly because it's kind of like a squishy character. Crit can be good, but he does not scale with crit. He doesn't gain any crit with the accessories or something like that. So any amount of crit that you give the character, it will have to be from zero. So it will be very hard for you to get like 60 or more percentage of critical chance on this character. So I will advise to give him more attack and damage boost than crit. The base is very good with effect resistance and giving him an incredible amount of speed, a little bit of effect precision and critical damage resistance. That the only thing good there is the effect precision. And this set is good on Peshurian because it gives a certain amount of effect precision. When all the pieces are the max rarity, that is the prismatic, it's gonna be at 30% effect precision, and it's giving a fixed chance to inflict a random damage over time on the target when you attack. That can be burn, bleed, or shock. So uh, you're helping this character to take or dispel the enemy boss more easily, or to dispel one or two buffs, and to inflict the buff block more easier than usual because of this set, the Desolation set. So this is like a the main combo will give you, and if you get lucky during your hits, you will put either shock, burn, or bleed on the enemy. If you don't want that set, the alternative I will give you is right here, this one, this sunset set. Instead of giving you effect precision, it's giving you a certain amount of increased attack, in this case 15%, and deals an extra amount of damage for every certain amount of percentage that the enemy is missing on his HP. And this can kind of like combine with him because if we go to the skills, the skill that I was leaving last, the passive skill, the Mystery of Space, it's what makes the character kind of like scale a little bit and be able to, do something on the battlefield because otherwise he will be like a fodder cannon, like another fodder enemy. The thing about this character is that increases his speed by a certain amount. The amount depends on the level of the skill that you have. After every hit, increases his speed and is stackable to a certain cap. Also, the cap is changeable. It depends on the level of the skill that you have him. And also the passive makes that each attack of this character makes bonus damage based on the difference of speed between the enemy target and Peshurian. So basically, the faster this character is than his enemy, the harder he's gonna hit them. Because of that speed difference is also multiplied by, in this case, 6 points, or at max level by 9 points. And if you get like the max stacks in a long game, he will be at max level also 72% faster than he started the game. So he can be a really, really speedy character, but really needs long combats. That is kind of like a bad thing because a lot of these levels or a lot of boss fights in the game ask you to finish the combat as quickly as possible because sometimes they put you the requirement beat this boss in 30 turns or less, something like that. And he is good in the contrary, he's good in long fights. So it's kind of like the risk you take. But well, the thing that it combines is uh, with the sunset set, the sunset and his passive. Let me put the sunset set right now. Here it is. um, it will scale like it will make this character scale double than usual. because the longer the combat goes, he's gonna get faster because of his passive. He's gonna do more damage because he's gonna get more extra damage based on the difference between his speed and his enemy speed. But if you put this set, he won't be able to dispel enemies' buffs or put a buff block so easily. But instead, he will have way more damage, and the weaker the enemy gets during the combat, because he's gonna be receiving damage, is the extra damage that he's gonna get during the fight. So, for example, if you start a combat and first turn or first round you take out the enemy healer, the longer the combat goes, it's gonna be the better for Peshurian, because he's not only gonna get faster, but because the enemy is not gonna be able to heal, they will grow weak with each hit. They're gonna lose certain amounts of HP, and that will be extra damage for him. So he kind of could work like an executioner, at least like an early executioner for your team, because honestly, at the high level, you're never gonna be using any rare character. So at least on the game, you could choose give him a desolation set and try to give him speed, attack, effect precision, and health or HP, so he doesn't die quickly. The speed and attack, so he can move faster, get a lot of turns during the combat, and do damage, while also being able to dispel the enemy's buffs or put the buff block to avoid them to getting any more buffs. Or instead of that, you could opt for the alternative, that is making him like a little executioner, still prioritizing speed, attack as your main two attributes, then HP, and the fourth one could be whatever you need. It could also be effect precision. And with that, basically you will like to have longer combats, because the longer it gets, the more damage and speed he's gonna get, and he will to speed enemies. So it could get, you could be into a situation where, like, turn 30 or turn 25, even turn 20 or action 20, Peshurian could be having two turns, while a specific enemy of his same role or his same rarity will be having just one turn or not even one turn. So that's like the only two ways you can play this character: full speed to prevent the enemy to having any advantages with the buffs, or being too fast and speedy to be constantly hitting the enemy to harass the enemy and get more damage and more speed the longer the combat goes. Last thing about this character I will say is another characters that make combo with him. I'm basing this a little bit on his attributes, mainly in this one, the counter rate. He gets 20% counter rate when the accessories reach level 3, which means that he can be a member of the counter teams. And that means that he can combine with a lot of characters. He can combine with this one, that increases the counter damage and counter rate of everyone on his team. You can put him with Gasev, that is also a member of the counter team. If you don't have any of those, you can use this one as another member of the counter team, because it has guaranteed counters for every time one of her allies are hit. Also, someone that not a lot of people think that they could like combine in the same team is the lizardman with the slingshot, the Sucube, and because of his passive skill, the Guardian Spirit, that basically, depending on the level of the skill, all of the lizardman allies gain certain amount of effect precision and effect resistance. This helps because even if you opt to give the Peshurian the Sunset set to boost his attack and his speed, the weaker the enemy gets, the stronger he's gonna get because of the extra attack. He's gonna help because at least level 1 and 2 is gaining 20% effect precision thanks to this Lizardman. Max level is 35 effect precision. So that could help. So you could say, oh, screw the Desolation set, I'm gonna go for full attack damage, full flat damage, not crit, and use this guy, this Lizardman, for the effect precision. Also, his Torrential Barrage, the skill that the Lizardman has, has a chance to put defense down on the enemy. Defense down means that the enemies take more physical damage. So the Lizardman will be making the enemies weaker to physical attacks, and Peshurian will be hitting harder because of that, and will have an easier time putting the buff block or dispelling enemy buffs. Aside of him, you can combine that one with the robot Hamsuke that is in banner right now, uh, as you can see right now. Well, right now, there it is, the Indestructible Fortress banner. They can combine because that Hamsuke, what it does is that lowers the enemy's defenses. But the way it does, it's an area of effect high, what's called high tier defense down. So they take at the end of the day 40% more physical damage. So you're increasing Peshurian's damage. And if you combine that with the Sunset set, that means that the enemies receive more damage, lose their HP faster than usual, so Peshurian gets more damage faster than usual. Another character you can combine them with, those two, or just Peshurian, will be this Kokiotos because he boosts the counter rate. With the ultimate, he gives 20% counter rate to everyone on his team and boosts 20% the counter damage. So it could be very useful. And I show in my last video how he literally can make his entire team counter a single enemy, even when they have just a natural 20% counter rate. Another character you can use in combination with him is Momon, in part because he's also a possible member of the counter team because of the natural 20%. Other percent could come for an arc light like this one, or what you could do is focus your Momon on either flat amounts of attack or full crit in a star set, and have him with Peshurian focused full on speed. Even if you don't prioritize giving him attack, you will have Peshurian to be like the first attack. So he is already running for his second turn. You use the skill 1 versus 1000 of Momon, so he chases after every ally's attack to do one extra attack. And what you will be aiming for will be that you use Peshurian after this skill to attack the enemy. So Momon does the chase, then use the rest of your team however you need. So he does more chases, and you try to use Peshurian A rate on speed to outpace Momon, so he could make Momon do like 2 or even 3 chases depending on the part of the game that you are, depending on the speed that you give to the characters. Another that you could use to combine is this uh, this version, this Tankolveo, because it has also counter rate, so it's a member of the counter team. It can counter the enemy, and the Arclight gives a certain amount of fixed chance to taunt the enemy on every counter. So you could have a counter team with the other two that I said, the other two SSR, and literally have a full counter team that can either dispel the enemy's buff or make chases to kill them faster in a burst of damage, or taunt the enemy so they do not throw any skills or ultimate abilities. Another one that you could use to combine with them is this one, the Lizardman with the Dragonbone armor and the spear, the Lizardman Sage. And because of the Lethal Blow and Spectre of Doom skills. Basically, Lethal Blow does a ton of damage, and if the enemy is missing a certain amount of HP, he will do an extra damage, and also has chance of putting Heal and Block and Shock. Those are debuff. If you combine that in the composition that I said with the other Lizardman, the effect precision will help this guy to put Shock and healing, healing down or what? Yeah, healing block, not healing down. The effect precision will help this guy. Peshurian will be able to weaken the enemy by constantly harassing them with attacks very quickly because he has a lot of speed. This guy, you will have him in the team or the composition with hopes that you can get a kill. So Spectre of Doom activates. That basically, for each dead in battle, this lizard man gets certain amount of damage increase to a certain maximum amount. That depends on the level. This is not directly like a synergy or a combo with the other, with the Peshurian, but it's nice to use in the same team because if you're using a rare character, is either you're a fan of the character or you're a low level player and you're using whatever you have. So you can have like this Lizardman as the heavy hitter of the enemy, the one that is gonna get boosted the more deaths there are. Peshurian, you will have him as the harasser, the one that is gonna constantly be hitting the enemy, and the Lizardman with the slingshot to weaken the enemy effect precision and boost the effect precision of your team. So in that composition, you will have both Peshurian and the Lizardman with the Dragonborn armor, like trying to act like if they were like late game characters or scale characters, like because the longer the combat goes, Peshurian is gonna get faster and it's gonna hit harder if you give him the sunset set, and if the combat goes for, let's say, 40 actions, it's very probable that at least someone has died on the battlefield, at least one enemy. So Spectre of Doom will activate and will give bonus damage to the Lizardman. So the game went longer, the Lizardman got more damage than usual. So you have the robot as a possible member to weaken the enemy. You have the Lizardman to boost the effect precision. You have Peshurian as like the main guy here to harass the enemy. You have the Lizardman in the Dragon Armor Bone, so he can like get a lot of damage when Peshurian executes an enemy. If you don't like that, you still have the other three options that I gave you here. You have Momon or Tanko Kyotos or Tankalbel for a counter team, or you want like an old meta counter team, you could use Brain, Gasev, and Gagarin for a normal counter team, and you're literally waiting the enemy to hit you so you can hit them back with the counter, hoping to achieve like two or three counters in the same attack so the enemy gets overrun quickly. And that will be all. Basically, you have to boost the speed of this guy as much as possible because the more speed is the more turns that he's gonna get and the harder that he's gonna hit. So if uh, you are able to give him like a sunset set, focus on speed and attack as your main two options, no matter on what composition you put him, of the ones that I said, doesn't matter the kind of team that you're running or what supreme being you use, he still works the same. He's gonna get faster, harass the enemy with like multiple attacks or attacks that are quickly, because the Peshurian turn is gonna come faster than usual, and with that, basically that's all about the character because you're using him as a harasser, and that will be all. He doesn't have any ultimate skill, doesn't have any ultimate animation, as you can see right here in the skill tree. There is no ultimate. Here there should be two ultimate upgrades, and there's nothing. And well, if you want to know how the teams that I already said work with him, you can check the past two videos of Lord of Nazarick that I put that I already uploaded. One, I'm testing the teams against the map bosses, the skeletal dragon and the scorpion of the desert. And in the second one, I'm testing the compositions against enemy compositions of other players in the arena mode or like the PvP mode multiplayer. And I will say that that will be all. Also, if you want to upgrade this character, it's very easy to get into the ranking. As you can see, I'm literally rank 5, and I'm not even trying to upgrade him. Someone, the rank 1 just has 13k combat power. Mine has 9k, and he's level 40. So if you really like this character or want to use him, you can get very easily into the rank 1 of the server, or any server, or even all the servers, if you put him at a level 100 and give him good relics. But yeah, that will be all about this Dark Knight, about this special slash. And next guide, I think it's gonna be either one of the pleiades I'm missing in the SR version or the Death Knight. So thanks for hearing my awful voice.